I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be Pursue Your Passion and Money Will Come. I've got an email here from a viewer. He says, "Hey Corey, the reason I'm contacting you now is I'm tired of my job and I really hate having to work for someone. I'm more interested in the direction of my life and not so much women. I'm interested in becoming a business owner or an entrepreneur, and I would like to have a business online." Well, you're in luck. I can definitely help you with that. "I have looked into internet marketing and affiliate programs and just found people who want to sell me their crap of how they got rich, which makes them richer." Yeah, that's the one thing I noticed, that when I got out of the real estate business and wanted to learn about online marketing for my life coaching business, there was just an endless supply of people that wanted you to pay thousands of dollars for their CD sets or their book, and then you buy these things and all it is a bunch of garbage, a bunch of ideas or basic business stuff that doesn't really tell you what you need to know in order to grow a successful online business. He says, "I really like the way you run your business. It's free advice unless we donate or pay for that little extra. And that's why I can give away what I do for free, is because you can apply what I teach and you can see, wow, this shit really works. And when you see that it works, you're like, you know what, I need to hire that guy. I need to book a phone coaching session, or I'm going to go and buy his book, or I'm going to go make a donation." Most businesses just simply aren't set up that way, and if they were, they would never turn a profit. He says, "Anyways, can you provide, or do you know someone that could provide information on legitimate knowledge in online business? I know in your book or your articles you mention emulating another person's business model." He says, "I get it, but maybe you can suggest some material or coaching in that area." He says, "Lastly, I got complacent with my goals while in my relationship and it cost me dearly." He said, "I set a lofty goal of becoming a millionaire before 30 and now I'm behind 2 years and not even close. I know that many viewers are concerned about their woes with women, and that's where the majority of advice is going to. I'd like to ask what maybe you have on tap for business questions, because I think relationships and women are just part of having a lifestyle worth living." Absolutely. If you want to be happy in life, you got to do something that you really love. And I got a quote here from Steve Jobs' commencement speech from 2005, and it's fantastic on this subject. He says, "Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. And like any great relationship, it just gets better and better as the years roll on. So keep looking until you find it. Don't settle." And I've got another quick quote I want to read you from the movie Factotum with Matt Dillon. And he plays this character. He's this writer that's struggling. And so I want to say this because this is important. If you want to grow a successful online business, or you want to start your own business, you got to understand how fucking hard it is and how long it takes and how much hard work it takes. And unless you're really willing to fail and not make money on something for several years, then you shouldn't start. Maybe you're better off just working in a job or a career for someone else, because it can be a real motherfucker. And that's why you've got to do something you really love and you have a passion for. That's why I'm always smiling when I'm looking at the camera and I'm answering these questions, because I really love what I do. I love helping people. It's just really fucking exciting. One of the guys I was coaching today, I've been working with him for about 1.5 years, and he's been dating for about 1.5 months. This girl knocks his fucking socks off, and they're having just ridiculous fucking sex. And it's amazing to talk to somebody that's basically my age and they're experiencing for the first time being with somebody who they're really into, and he's really digs this girl. He's starting to fall in love with her, and she's starting to fall in love with him. And it's the first time, he's 44 years, I think, old he is, that he's ever experienced this with a woman. I think it's amazing that I'm able to use what I've learned and teach somebody to be able to repeat the kind of success that I've had in my own life. And this quote that I want to share with you, he says, this is apart from the end of the movie. This is like one of his little short stories that ends up getting picked up after his character, I think, kicks the bucket in the end, if I remember right. He says, "If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing on a park bench. It could mean jail. It could mean derision. It could mean mockery, isolation. And isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, of how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it. Despite rejection and the worst odds, and it will be better than anything else you could imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There's no other feeling like that. You'll be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. You'll ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is. In essence, what he's saying, unless you're really fucking committed and you really have a passion for it, you really shouldn't start. And so if you want to be a successful online entrepreneur or start your own brick and mortar type of business, unless you're willing to deal with a lot of rejection and a lot of failure, because if you think something's going to take you 2 years to figure out your business model, it'll probably take you 5 years. And if you're making $50,000, $60,000 a year in a nice, stable, steady job that you may be working right now, are you willing to give up your life and your lifestyle of making next to nothing for several months or even several years? You got to think about all these things. But the key is you got to follow something that you have a passion for. A lot of people, they go and they get into online marketing, or they get into businesses, or I'm going to start this business, and they get into MLM or some other kind of crap because they're focused on how much money they can make. If you're focused on how much money you can make, you're not going to be very successful long term. You need to find a way to add value, because any business, what they provide is a useful product or some kind of useful service that people are willing to pay for. And so if you think you have a great $1 million idea, you got to do some market research. You got to look and see who really is willing to pay for your product or your service. And everybody thinks that they've got the greatest idea since sliced bread. But how many companies really grow into the next Facebook or the next Twitter or the next Apple or the next Google? Very few of them actually become that big and become that successful. And you look at like Mark Zuckerberg. How did he become so successful in Facebook? He just started building something he thought was really cool. He never intended to build it into a business when he started out. He just wanted to build it because he thought creating a social network at his college would just be something cool to have, and a great tool to connect with people over the internet. Or you look at someone like Larry Page and Sergey Brin, who started Google. Their goal was to organize the world's information in one place so you could go right to a search engine and find exactly what you were looking for, no matter where it was on the planet. And that's what they focused on. And you notice that Google tends to be free. And that's one of the things that inspired me to build my business model the way that I have it, is because I realized that most people aren't going to want to hire a life coach. The average person is not going to want to hire someone like me because they're not open to it and they couldn't see the value in it. And so there's a small type of niche for the type of product or service that I offer versus like what I used to do, which was real estate and construction-oriented business. There's a lot more people in the world who need help with real estate and mortgages than want to hire a life coach. Even though everybody could use a life coach, most people are just simply not open to it. So it really took me a lot of years to figure out my business model that I have now to become successful. And so if you want to have a successful online business, like I said, the first thing you got to do is you got to do something you have a passion for. If you want to get into online marketing, a great place to go is go work for a company that already is successful at online marketing, like an affiliate type of company, like one of those large companies that does like pay-per-click campaigns of like large companies, and they're selling a specific type of product. So you can learn the ins and outs of their business. You can learn where they get their customers from, or how they get their customers, how they get their customers, the people that are on their websites to click through and take action. In my particular case, what I realize is answering questions for people and teaching the things that I know, putting it on articles on my website and putting it in videos. And one of the things I love about the business I have now, when I was in real estate, I had 40 employees and I had 2 business partners. And when you have a business partner, it's like being in a marriage with another person or several other people, or if you got multiple business partners. And so it can be really difficult and really challenging, because if you want to change direction, or you want to do something, you got to figure out how you're going to sell it to your business partners. Well, the business I have now, I don't spend anything for marketing. I simply answer people's questions. I put it in the form of either emails, or I put it in the form of articles on my website, or I do YouTube videos. And by putting my content out there, by teaching what I know and helping people who are having real-time problems right now that they need help with, and I help them, they'll subscribe to my YouTube channel or my Facebook page or to my email list or one of the other, or my Twitter feed. They'll follow me on Twitter because they like the content that I have. And I see a lot of people that will come, like the average guy that I coach, he might follow me for 3 months or 6 months before he gets around to the point where he's willing to spend the money to pay me to coach him on an hourly basis to help him with his business idea, or turn his relationship around, or his marriage around, or to get the kind of job that he's always wanted to have. I focused on finding a way to add value to people's lives, because when I initially started out, I was doing like most people. I put together a product, which was my book, and I was trying to find a way to market it successfully, where what I spent in marketing, I actually got back a higher return. I got more money back than I spent to market. And what I found initially, like when I was spending like $10,000 a month on men's fitness ads to run a full page ad in the men's fitness magazine. So I might spend 10 grand and I might get $5,000 or $6,000 back. So I was still losing $4,000 or $5,000 every time I ran an ad. I still would get people to coach, but it still was not enough. Like when I was in real estate, I mean, I would say we would sell like a $300,000 house. I'd make about $20,000, $25,000 between the loan commission and the real estate commission. So I had a high return, even though I did. And so when we were spending $50,000 a month, we might on average have 40 to 50 closings a month, and about half of those would be from the ads that we ran on television. Well, I'm selling a really high price point product where you're making thousands of dollars for one sale. Versus like trying to sell a $20 book, it's obviously you got to sell a lot of books in order to make money if you're advertising on TV. And so that's the beauty of the internet, is that content is king. That's what drives Google search, and that's what drives YouTube. And so by putting a useful video on YouTube, people will follow it, they'll like it. I make money on ads that are shown over my videos. And plus my videos help people, and it convinces them that I actually know what the hell I'm talking about, to the point where they'll actually go to my website, take some action, and book a phone coaching session. But the key before you start anything is you got to follow your passion. And like I talked about earlier, is that you want to role model. In other words, you want to go find people that are already successful at what it is that you want to do, and either go work for them or model the success of their business. Apply what they're doing successfully in your own business, and therefore you'll get the same kinds of results. And so, I mean, basically, like I said, I've got 3 different web developers that work for me. I've got an engineer and a graphics person and another web engineer person that help me with my website. I use a WordPress website. I buy all of my pictures and my images, which are magazine quality images from Getty Images, which stuff's not cheap, but I want high quality stuff on my website. So that's basically what I do for my own particular business model. And it's like I said, if you want to be successful, you got to have some big balls. But unless you're willing, before you get into starting a business, to go several years and spend a lot of money over the course of several years, in other words, lose money for a long period of time until you figure your business model out, you're probably better off working for somebody else in the form of a career. And like my first business that I had with my 2 business partners, we actually worked for another company that was in the buy, fix up, and resell business of selling single-family foreclosure homes for a profit. I went to work for them after I basically, to make a long story short, quit my job, borrowed 50 grand on my credit cards, and I bought 2 foreclosures in 2 really crummy neighborhoods. And after a few months of working on my own, I realized the only time I was making money was I was actually having a closing when the house sold. And so I needed a way to have steady cash flow, and that's why I went to work for the company that I was actually buying my properties from. I learned all the ins and outs, and I applied what I learned from them, and that built the successful business model that I was into. And so if you'd like to talk to me to consult to help you figure out a good business model for yourself, you can book a paid phone coaching